shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Your Wildest Genes podcast. My name is Dr. Noah DeCoyer and I am your co-host. Today our guest is Wendy Myers. Wendy is the founder of live-to110.com and hosts the Live to 110 video podcast. She's also the host of the Medicinal Supplement Summit coming up September 12th through the 19th. She's a functional diagnostic nutritionist and a holistic health coach in Los Angeles, California. She attended the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York and has a degree in entrepreneurship from the University of Southern California. She is currently certified in hair mineral analysis, which she uses to design custom mineral power programs. This is an individualized targeted nutrient therapy program to facilitate detoxification, heal the adrenals and thyroid, reverse illness, and regain energy and brain function. Wendy, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I'm stoked for your summit. I'm glad to have you on today. I love doing interviews, but when I'm going to interview a person on a topic that I don't know a lot about, it's even better. And I'm interested. I'm excited about talking about hair mineral analysis today. But before we begin, Wendy, tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you got into the health field.
Well, I kind of just started, getting into health as a hobby. And I, was sort of planning my pregnancy. And I had to learn about toxins in my home. And I don't know why, it just had escaped me before. I didn't realize how many toxins were in my beauty products and in the shampoos I was using, all the stuff you had to keep away from baby. And I just went down that rabbit hole and decided to become a health coach. And I specialize in detoxification. And then my father, unfortunately, was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. And as we know, cancer is caused by toxins. And he unfortunately passed within about 6 months of his diagnosis. But that really lit the fire under me to research about the underlying causes of cancer. And it scared me straight also. He had a really miserable death. And I thought, no, I'm not going out like that. And so I started really learning about, all the toxins that cause cancer and publishing what I was researching on my website, live-to110.com. And the website's really in his honor. And I just work every day to try to detox myself and help other people detox the right way. And that involves, doing lots of testing to figure out what nutrients your body is missing, what you need specifically, and the specific supplements you need to detox what metals that you have. So it's very, it needs to be customized. And so that's what I do on my Mineral Power program, is design these custom nutrient detox programs for people.
One of the first things I've had listed to ask you today are one of the prime symptoms for needing detoxification just being tired or being exhausted?
Absolutely. Because that's kind of like the beginning of the end almost. And, when people start getting kind of tired, it's in their teens. For most of us, it's in our 30s and 40s. And it's because of an accumulation of toxins in our body, namely trivalent metals, arsenic, aluminum, tin, and thallium. Also, mercury and lead, of course, play a role. Mercury reduces your body's ability to produce energy. Lead as well. My clients that are really lead toxic, I call them lead heads. They sleep 12 hours a day. But almost everyone has these metals, the arsenic, aluminum, tin, and thallium. And what these metals do is they poison enzymes that transport nutrients into our mitochondria. And our mitochondria are cells' powerhouses. They make our body's energy, ATP. And if you don't have those basic building blocks, those nutrients to make energy, it's not going to happen to your body's capability. And so fatigue is that first sign that something in your body isn't working right to make energy. And so these metals are the culprit. Also adrenal fatigue and thyroid dysfunction. Those glands also help in energy production. So a sign maybe they aren't working so well also.
And, there's some obvious sources of metal poisoning, vaccinations and mercury fillings, but what are some not so common sources of these these toxins that accumulate in our body?
Well, arsenic, number one, arsenic is found in conventional chickens and conventional eggs. And all of us are guilty of eating those. You go out to a restaurant, whatever, they don't have, not every place has organic food. And so the antibiotic that they're fed contains arsenic. And this is routine around the world. This antibiotic with arsenic makes the chickens grow 50% faster. So the farmers make a lot more money.
Right.
And so you want to do organic or pastured chicken if you do it. Arsenic's also found in rice. The rice grown in the southern United States is a lot more arsenic because of a pesticide they used to use. It was banned in the 80s, but it's still, the arsenic pesticide is still prevalent in the soils. So I prefer rices from California. They tend to be on the safer side. But a lot of rice protein powders can contain alarmingly high levels of arsenic. Arsenic can also be found in water, well water, or tap water. I recommend people check their tap water. And I found uranium in my water, so I had to get a whole house filter to protect myself from that, really devastating toxin. And the other metals, aluminum. Everyone has aluminum. I mean, it's just ever present. It's in the vaccines, like you mentioned. They're not using mercury so much anymore.
Right.
They do with the flu vaccine. But it's found in most other vaccines, and it's also found in soda cans, and it's used as an anti-caking and drying agent in flour and salt, and it's found in water. Municipal water sources use it to cause sediment to sink to the bottom, and of course we're slathering it on our underarms every day, and or we did in the past. Even though, hey, you're healthy now and have been the past few years, all the things you did in the past, all the toxins you've put on your body or eaten can accumulate in your body and store in your fat, your bones, and other places. So you can still have those, even though today you're pretty healthy. And then we have tin. Tin is found in tin cans, and it's also can be found in water and soil. The other one is thallium. This is one that most people don't know much about. It's a gasoline additive. And it's a collusion between the petroleum companies and the car manufacturers because it makes the cars run smoother. It makes the engines last longer. And the petroleum companies used to add lead to the gasoline, or they still do, but not so much here in the U.S. And there was a huge public outcry because lead is a known neurotoxin. So that was removed. Now they add thallium, and nobody knows about it. Thallium is incredibly toxic. It can prevent certain parts of your brain from communicating with each other. It prevents nutrients from being absorbed in the gut. And it's so toxic, it's used in assassination attempts. And but the good news is that all of these metals can be detoxed pretty easily.
They can. This seems ubiquitous, and it seems kind of scary. And I mentioned it already, but what's the best way to assess your toxicity levels?
Well, I usually start clients with a hair mineral analysis.
Okay.
And because part of detoxification is mineralizing your body. That's the number one thing people do. And for some clients who are so sick, that's the only thing they can do. And you have to start taking minerals. This will push metals out of the body. It'll strengthen the body and its ability to detox. So I start with the hair mineral analysis to assess someone's mineral levels. And it will also give me a partial view of someone's metal toxicities. And some people don't detox metals into the hair very well. Some metals don't detox into the hair very well, like cadmium and lead and nickel. So we have to do additional testing to do a full assessment, full workup of the toxins people have. And I like to do urine metals test and stool test as well, because some metals come out in the hair, some come out in the urine, and some come out in the stool. And so that's really that trifecta of tests is ideal to get a complete assessment of your toxin levels.
Now, if you have a lot of mercury fillings in your mouth, and I've heard some contradictions in this, is it worth starting to detox before you even have them out of your mouth, or is that just defeating the purpose if you haven't removed those from your mouth?
No, not everyone can afford to remove them. And
I
so
agree.
I don't think that should be any kind of roadblock to starting a detox program. Most people have had them for decades. And so by no means should that stop you from starting detoxification or will impede your ability to detox. I don't subscribe to that at all. The best time to start detoxing is today because these toxins are accumulating every single day and it's only going to get worse if you don't be proactive and start doing something about it. So, ideally, you want to have the fillings removed by a biological dentist. But if you can't, don't let that stop you from beginning to detox your entire body.
I'm glad to hear that for sure. Now, if this is mainly a mineral problem, I'm assuming this is only getting worse because as we deplete our soil, as our soil becomes less nutrient, the minerals in our food are just consistently reducing every single year that we're on this planet. So, any thoughts or ideas on that?
Yeah, it's a terrible problem because there's no financial incentive for farmers to mineralize the soil. And minerals are the main thing people need to be focusing on when they're detoxing because they're needed to make your body work. They're the spark plugs of your body. And your DNA can't copy properly if you don't have enough copper, and you can't make digestive enzymes if you don't have enough zinc, and magnesium is needed for 3,700 processes in the body, and magnesium is the most important mineral, and a lot of people are deficient because they're stressed out, and we have all these stressors on our body like wireless internet and EMFs, and it's a lot of things working against us when it comes to minerals. And, when the food is grown in this mineral deficient soil, it's going to be mineral deficient as well. And even if you're eating organic, it doesn't matter. There's these large organic farms have very intensive farming practices as well. So they're by no means exempt. They have low mineral levels in their soils as well. I prefer the biodynamic organic, but very hard to come by that. So unless you're growing your own vegetables and you're an expert farmer like my uncle in Texas, who's been gardening for 30 years, and you're remineralizing the soil and you know how to do that, you're probably not getting enough minerals.
Okay. We mentioned minerals and you mentioned magnesium and you mentioned a few others, but what are some of the main minerals that we're deficient in and that we need to, pay very close attention to?
Magnesium is number one. And a lot of people are taking it, but they're not taking enough and they're not taking the right forms. And we'll get into that in a second. Zinc is really important. Not everyone needs zinc, but it's one of those that, especially men, very, very important. They need it to make testosterone. And another one that's really important is potassium and sodium. A lot of people are deficient in that, and you need that for so many different things in your body. So I have my clients do an adrenal cocktail where they put sea salt or Himalayan salt and some potassium citrate and a little OJ, which has a lot of potassium, or other citrus juice. That gives a lot of potassium. And phosphorus, a lot of people are deficient in phosphorus. Animal products have a lot of phosphorus in them. But magnesium is the most important one. 90% of people are deficient in magnesium, and you need about 5 times your body weight per day in milligrams. So if you weigh 200 pounds, 5 times that is about 1,000 milligrams per day. Some people need more. If you get loose bowels, that's a sign that it's too much for you. You need less. And my favorite forms of magnesium are magnesium glycinate. I start with that number one because that raises red blood cell magnesium. So you got to raise that level of magnesium inside your cells. I love magnesium threonate because that helps to improve brain function, improve energy production. I love magnesium malate. These all do different things in your body. Malate helps you to detox, helps with energy levels. But I love Ian Clark's Activation Products Ease magnesium spray. It's a magnesium chloride, and it uses the highest grade of magnesium chloride on the market. So, and it doesn't make your skin itch as much as some of the other magnesium chloride oils and sprays out there. So that just goes on like water, just absorbs into your skin. So it gives you some transdermal magnesium. Epsom salt baths are great, gives you some magnesium sulfate. So I encourage people to get magnesium in them in as many different forms and as many different ways as possible because it's so important. And you sleep better, you feel more relaxed, and you sleep better.
That's a great point. Sometimes magnesium gets a little bit confusing because there's so many different kinds: citrate, malate, oxide, glycinate, threonate. It could be a little bit overwhelming, and just when you're dealing with magnesium on its own.
Yeah, and I tell people to avoid magnesium oxide because it only has a 4% absorption rate. So why bother? And
Right.
magnesium citrate, that can cause loose bowels in a lot of people. So if you're taking a magnesium and it gave you loose bowels, time to switch to a different form like glycinate. So that can be a big problem for some people.
That's important. Any other minerals that come to mind that are really crucial?
Well, calcium is one of those minerals that not everyone needs. So it's one of those things where you want to do testing to find out if you need it or not. A lot of women are told across the board they need 1,500 milligrams a day after a certain age, and that's not the case. You need testing to find out if you actually need it, because if you don't need it, it can be really problematic in your body. And just because you're taking calcium doesn't mean it goes into your bones automatically. Calcium needs magnesium and vitamin D and vitamin K to tell it where to go, to shuttle it into your bones. So taking calcium without magnesium is a very, very bad idea.
Yeah, it can harden the arteries and cause all sorts of cardiovascular problems, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I tell the women in my practice consistently is that, they're told calcium, 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 drink your milk, do this, do that. When it's the other nutrients that are just as important or more important, like you mentioned them, vitamin D, K, boron, strontium, all these, micronutrients things are so far more important for bone health than calcium alone, for sure.
Yes, and even if you say you avoid calcium, you don't have it in your diet, you go paleo, and you don't take calcium supplements, you can still get calcium deposition in your arteries if you're under a tremendous amount of stress.
Yeah, good point.
Because if you're under a lot of stress or your body's very acidic, your body will pull the calcium from your bones and deposit it into your soft tissues. So it's one of those things where I can see that on a hair mineral analysis if you have too much calcium in your tissues and can help correct that. So you're not exempt from that problem even if you avoid dairy and calcium supplements.
Are there any foods now? And I have two classes of foods that I'm thinking. Now we know the vegetables and fruits are really devoid of minerals, but are nuts and seeds kind of holding strong with their mineral content, or are they losing their potency as well?
Well, all food across the board is losing its potency, but nuts, because these are seeds, they're kind of the life giver of the nut tree. They tend to have a lot of minerals in them. So I recommend that people sprout them so that they can actually get the nutrients in the nut. Otherwise, all the oxalates and all the other, I forget what they're called, all the other things in the nuts, those will prevent us from absorbing them. And so you want to sprout them to enjoy all the nutrient density that's in a nut.
Right. And when you say sprout, you mean literally just soaking them in water for like 24 hours, essentially.
Exactly.
Right. All
Yeah,
right.
and you can buy them sprouted already, but just soaking them overnight in water and then kind of drying them is very helpful.
Cool. Now, so give us some insight. And how does this program, how does Hair Mineral Analysis, how does this whole process work?
Well, it just starts with, someone sending in their hair. They send in about an inch of hair, a couple centimeters from their scalp, and that will give me an idea of what metals and toxins are depositing into their hair. Your hair is kind of like a garbage can. Your body will dump excess toxins and calcium into your hair, but it's a very, very accurate indication of the tissue levels of minerals you have in your body. And that's very, very important because I don't care what mineral levels you have in your blood. That information is virtually useless when it comes to minerals because the blood is homeostatic and the blood has to be kept at a very narrow margin of error. So it will rob calcium from the bones to keep the blood levels of calcium normalized. Same with sodium. And so you want to look at what's in your tissues, and that will tell you if you have a deficiency or an excess in your body. And looking at red blood cell minerals, that's great too. But other than when it comes to blood, I only will look at red blood cell mineral levels. But the hair mineral analysis is a very easy test to do that you can do from home. And then I do an hour consult over Skype to help people to understand it and interpret it and, tell them its implications for their health.
And once you have this test and this information, is it detoxification supplements? Is it a whole mineral program? Like what's the next step after we know where their concerns are?
Well, I get a very detailed health history, and based on that, because I work with the client's health issues, not just the test results.
Right.
So based on both of those, I give a supplementation plan. It's a lot of minerals, and of course, the multivitamin I use is marine phytoplankton, and everyone gets that. That's has about 180 different nutrients in it. It's very, very important. And after that, when I look at their metal levels and what metals they have, I'll give them specific nutrients, specific supplements that detox the particular metals that they have. Some people aren't ready to detox yet, so they'll just get the minerals only, and we'll kind of work out some other issues that they have before they start detoxing. But for most people, they'll start detoxing right away. And I'm a functional medicine practitioner. I do all kinds of gut testing and hormone testing and other kinds of testing that people need. But I primarily focus on detoxification because I think it resolves a lot of people's health issues, since so many of these metals have so many different health conditions that they cause. So once you get rid of these metals and the metals that cause fatigue, a lot of people's health issues begin resolving, and then we'll just kind of look at what's left over and then start working on that once they've detoxed.
And when somebody's going through a detoxification process, what are their symptoms? Do they have some? Do you become more tired? Do you become more energetic? Does your skin break out? What are some common things you see when a person is starting to detox?
Everyone is different. Some people it's just smooth sailing, but I give people Pectisol C. It's a modified citrus pectin, which is a binder. You don't ever want to detox unless you're taking a binder, because we're mobilizing a lot of metals. And once those make their way into the gut, we want this binder to escort them out of your body. And so if you don't have a binder, things can hepatically reabsorb, like through your gut back into your body or through your liver, and deposit somewhere else. So, and by taking this binder, you also dramatically reduce detox symptoms. And so my clients detox very comfortably, but unfortunately it takes energy to detox. So people can become fatigued when they're detoxing, and they can have symptoms. The various symptoms they're trying to get rid of, those can flare up when the metal that's causing it is being detoxed and, floating around in the body for a day or two, waiting to exit the body. When it's been mobilized, that can cause people's headaches or other kind of uncomfortable symptoms. But as long as they take this Pectisol C binder, really, really helpful to dramatically reduce or eliminate detox symptoms.
No, I'm assuming this Pectisol C is much more efficient than, let's say, like activated charcoal or bentonite clay or other things that are used as binders?
Yeah, so I think it's much more effective. The charcoal, you can't take that every single day. It can negatively impact gut bacteria. The bentonite clay can have a lot of aluminum in it. So that doesn't mean it's going to absorb into your body just because it contains aluminum. But I don't think it's the best product on the market to work as a binder. French green clay is nice as well, but I just prefer the Pectisol C.
Cool.
It works better. It's shown very well in research to absorb so many different kinds of metals and chemicals as well.
Now, you've mentioned the phytoplankton, and any other supplements that are really key in your program that you'd like to mention?
Yes, well, to get rid of the metals that cause fatigue, what's key is a product called BioSil. So that is a hair, skin, and nail product. It's marketed to improve hair, skin, and nails, but it contains silica. And silica is needed to, strengthen the hair, skin, and nail and the bones, but it also mobilizes and displaces these metals that cause fatigue that I mentioned earlier, the arsenic, aluminum, tin, and thallium. And a lot of people are taking this product already and they don't realize that it's helping them detox and really, really effective at getting these specific metals. But it can't be just any silica. It specifically has to be the BioSil silica because it's attached to a choline molecule, and that changes it in such a way to where it's a binder. It mobilizes the arsenic, aluminum, tin, and thallium. So it's a very important distinction to make. So that's one that all of my clients get about 8 to 10 drops a day in some citrus juice or pineapple juice because that helps it to absorb a lot better.
It's absolutely fascinating to me how specific you can get with your supplementation. And saying that, you are the host of an upcoming summit, the Medicinal Supplement Summit, and I'd love for you to talk about that because just when you hear you speak about supplements, you have such an unbelievable knowledge about specific, detailed supplements, their safety, why they're used, why certain ones are the best. How about getting into a little bit of detail about your summit coming up?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I love supplements and I'm kind of persnickety about my supplements and what I use with my clients. I like everything to be the best. And when I first started learning about health, I took a lot of different stuff. I just really didn't know what to take, and I was doing a lot of reading. It was a very steep learning curve, and of course I'm learning all the time. There's lots of new amazing products on the market, new developments all the time. But when I was first learning, I spent a lot of money that I didn't need to spend, and I took a lot of supplements that I didn't really need. And so that's why I wanted to do this summit because I'm so passionate about supplements and customizing them to your health conditions, customizing them to your body chemistry and what you need as an individual, because that's where supplementation is going. Right now a lot of people are taking a multivitamin, and that's kind of like a shotgun approach to supplementation where you're just trying to cover everything. But what I prefer is a sniper approach and giving your body exactly what it needs. And you really need to do testing in order to do that. But you're still doing a great job. If you're taking multivitamins and you're taking some antioxidants and minerals, great. It's better than nothing. But if you really want to make huge strides in your health and meet your health goals and get where you want to go, whether it's better energy or better brain function or reversing your health condition or diabetes or heart disease, whatever it is, you have to take specific nutrients. And so I put this summit together with some of the world's top experts in health and nutrition to talk about, the best supplements for different health conditions, the best supplements for weight loss, and worse supplements for weight loss, and and toxins in supplements. A lot of people don't think about that. Are there metals in the supplements that I'm taking? Or, and a lot of supplements don't have on the label what they claim. And so I wanted to explore all of these issues and just help people to hurdle that learning curve and not have to spend the years researching that I had to do.
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating topic. I love supplementation too. I'm quite frankly, I'm surprised that nobody did one prior to you, and I'm excited that you're the person that's putting it on because I love your information. I love what you have to say. I'm actually on the summit, which is pretty neat, which I'm really honored to be on the summit, and
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Well, tell them what you talked about.
Well, besides being a chiropractor, I also have another company, and we've hosted 2 summits. And we speak about, the best supplementation for pain, naturally relieving pain like fish oils and turmeric and things of that nature. And we get into a little bit of detail on it. And I think it was a great topic. And it was a great interview. And I'm stoked to hear the rest for sure.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to register for the summit, it's totally free. You can go to medicinalsupplementssummit.com. Either spelling summit supplements or supplement, doesn't matter. You'll get there. And it's happening from September 12th to September 19th, absolutely free. And there's 36 speakers on the main summit. When you register, you'll eventually get an email to get an additional 15 more speakers. So there's a lot of content. And we couldn't cover everything, and there's just so many things you can talk about when it comes to supplements. But I think it's very comprehensive, and it was really just a pleasure. It was a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly comprehensive. I looked at the speaker list, the different topics, and it's just absolutely amazing. Well, as we come to the end of our little interview here today, for our audience, in the show notes there'll be a free gift link from Wendy. It's called Limitless Energy Guide, and the email to sign up for that will be there. And it's just a guide that explains why you're so tired and the true underlying causes of your fatigue, and that gives on tips and solutions on how to increase energy. So look for that in the show notes. Thank you, Wendy, for your time and your expertise. I will be doing a hair mineral analysis with you very shortly, without a doubt.
Yes.
Absolute 100%. As soon as your summit's over with and you get a little bit of a breather, we're gonna tackle that for sure. And I'm looking forward to your summit launch.
Yeah, maybe we could do another podcast and read your results.
Yeah. I'm game. I'm an open book. Sometimes my wife gets mad at me because I'm such an open book, but I'm game. Absolutely. Thanks
Yeah,
again.
yeah, for any of the listeners, if you want to learn more about me, you can go to live to110.com, and you can learn more about my detox program at mineralpower.com.
Great. Thanks for those resources. They definitely need that. My name is Dr. Noah DeCoyer, your co-host, and you're listening to the Beyond Your Wildest Genes podcast. If you like what you've heard today, please share this with your friends and family and encourage them to subscribe on iTunes. Lastly, help us help you and leave a review on iTunes. That helps tremendously. Thank you, and as my oldest son Hayden says, be awesome and never unawesome.